Right on page 59, we're going to read step 1. Okay? I want you to read step 1. Read it loud.
We admitted we were powerless over alcohol that our lives had come.
Sit up. Sit up. Now, this is just a yes or no question. Are you powerless over drugs and alcohol? It's yes or no. Huh? Why?
Controlling my brain.
Say this. Say, I don't have a damn clue. Because that's the truth. You said yes, right? Okay, why? Say this. Say, I don't have a damn clue. If somebody asked you if you were powerless over drugs and alcohol, what would you say?
Yeah.
Okay. You would say, yes, I am, right?
Yeah.
Okay, why? Look, I want you to read step 1 again. It says, we, what? Admit it. For you to admit it, you got to be armed with some facts. Once you're armed with facts, then you can say, I am powerless or I'm not. Are you powerless over drugs and alcohol? Why? Look, for you to admit it, you got to be armed with facts. Now, we're going to give you facts. Don't start operating on facts, not fiction like you've been operating on. Madison, yes or no? Are you powerless over drugs and alcohol? Why? Look, how long have you been here? Yeah, you ought to be spitting it off like that. I didn't say, oh, no. Well, what I said was, when you first come in here. Now, you've been here how long? Okay, now, would I say you still got some things going on that make you powerless? I would. Now, just answer the question. Okay, and I'm asking you why. Well, I'm in here and I'm not. Look, how many of y'all in here? You come in here, we go over some of the same stuff over and over. And you come in here, and once you hear it 1 or 2 times, you act like you know everything, but we ask you simple questions and you can't answer them. Now, there are 2 things you've got going on that render someone powerless. Now, in order for you to admit you are or you are not, you've got to be armed with facts. Now, the first part of the first step, it deals with you being powerless. Now, read step 1. Read it loud. Never mind. Never mind. No. Read it. Did you miss anything? Read it again. Did she miss anything? You read it.
We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable.
Did he miss anything? Huh? You read it.
We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become.
Did she miss anything?
No.
Huh?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
You read it.
We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable.
Now, let's read it right. We admitted we were over alcohol / that our lives had become. Now, step one is broken up into two parts. The first 50% of step one deals with being. The second 50% deals with unmanageability. Now, we're going to talk about this part first. Now, if you are powerless over alcohol, you got two things going on. Two, you have something physically, and you have something mentally. Now, what's your favorite thing? If I took every drug known to mankind and I put them on that table and I told you, I want you to go pick your favorite one. Pick as much as you can hold. What would you pick? Booze. What kind of booze? Favorite kind? Just for shits and giggles, make like you have one.
Okay, vodka.
Okay. Now, if you had a case of top vodka, would you take the top off of one of the bottles? Pour you one little drink like that. Put the top back on the bottle. Drink it. Put it in the freezer because we know it won't freeze. Go about your business for 6 months. Come back and pour you one more little drink. And do that every month until all that booze was gone. Did you do that? No. What happens every time you put the first little bit in your body? Right. And another one. And another one. What's your favorite?
I see Jim Beam.
Okay. Me too. Same question to you.
Absolutely not.
Can you drink one little drink, put the top back on the bottle, drink the drink, go about your business for 6 months? What's your favorite?
I drink Fireball or whiskey or whatever.
I thought you was meth.
I am, but goddamn.
I said your favorite.
Well, meth, I guess.
Okay, well, only you would know. Now, how are you doing the meth? Favorite way?
I snort it.
Okay, if you had 10 lines, big as my middle finger, could you do a quarter today?
Look, no.
Put the rest in the refrigerator and go about your business for a month. Come back and do another little quarter and do that every month until it was gone. Why can't you? Say, I don't
know.
have
Have.
a damn clue.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Myth.
Huh?
Myth.
How?
Snorting.
Same
Right.
question.
We'll do a high road.
Can you, favorite way? You tell me.
I'm a high road.
Okay, if you had 10 rigs ready to go, right?
Hmm.
Right?
Right.
Could you do one today?
No.
Why, something wrong with your arms?
I don't shoot though. I snort it.
Okay, same thing. Whether you snort it, shoot it, shove it up your rear end, it's the same thing. Now, what happens every time you put one in your body? What do you want?
More.
And
More.
now, whether you drink it, shoot it, snort it, cover up any orifice you have. How many of y'all, every time you put one in, you want more? Now, why is that? You have something physically. We refer to it as an allergy of the body. Now, how many of y'all, when y'all first come in here, when we start talking to you about an allergy, many of y'all, like I was, this is what I said the first time they suggested to me, I had an allergy to alcohol. I said, the hell I do. I'm drinking about a gallon of that shit a day. There's no way I could be allergic to it. Because I looked at an allergy as something external. Now, about 90% of all allergies manifest themselves externally. Now, when you drink vodka, do you break out on the outside in hives and rashes? You break out on the inside, and your body starts to physically crave more. Would you agree or disagree? Now, every time you snort the first little bit, do you set that off, and does your body say more? What about you? Every time you drink the first little bit of your classy Jim Beam, do you set that off?
Yes.
And does your body say
Yes.
more? Every time you snort the first little bit of meth, do you set that off? And does your body say more? Now, if you put one in and you cannot control how much you're going to use, how less you're going to use, when you're going to use, where you're going to use, and who you're going to use with, you've got to understand the physical part. We refer to it as the allergy, and every allergy has an indicator that tells you if you have it or you don't. Now, this is the indicator that you have the allergy. Normal people, whatever the hell that is, they do not set off a craving when they put one in them because they don't have. Now, how many of y'all sitting in this room have tried to prove you're normal? Guess what normal people never try to do? Prove they're normal. So if you've tried to prove you're normal, it actually proves your ass ain't. Now, how many of y'all tried to control it? Enjoy it. Guess what normal people never try to do? Control it and enjoy it. Now, why do you think normal people never try to control it? Because they don't have. Now, what's your favorite?
No.
Now,
Smoke.
every time you hit the first one, do you set that off? And does your body say more? Now, how many of y'all keep ending up on these? They call them spree. Now, a spree can last a couple of hours, a couple of days, a couple of weeks, months, years. Now, I want you to listen to this, Linda. It takes 72 hours, give or take, depending on your body weight, your metabolism, to get the physical craving off your ass. That's why we have something called detox. Now, if you haven't used in 72 hours or so, you are not. Now, let's say, Madison, you said you've been here 12 weeks. If Madison left here today and picked back up, would it be because of the physical part or because of the obsession? Look, if you haven't used 72 hours or so, the physical craving is gone. Now, how many of y'all get cravings and obsessions confused? Cravings are physical. Obsessions are. Now, how many of y'all have come up off bad sprees before where you used too much, got in trouble, financial trouble, work trouble, family trouble, legal trouble, all the above trouble, and you swore you would never use again? How many times have you come up off of one of these sprees and said, I am done? I'm done. They call that the Alcoholics National Anthem. Now, when you're trying to live sober down here, because you done, right? Do you start to get irritable?
Yep.
You start to get restless. You start to get discontented.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely, you start a little emotional buildup between your ears. The obsession kicks in and it tells you, hey, you need some relief. And at that point, you probably do. Because you're doing nothing else recovery-wise. Now, how many of y'all, when y'all put that first one in, after being sober and building up down here, once you put that first one in, how many of y'all got? Now, do you get ease and comfort?
Yeah.
Of course you do. And if you could stop right here, I would be talking to an empty room. But since you've got this, every time you do that, it sets off, and your body is now telling the mind what to do, which is go get, and you end up right back. How many times have you ended up back on a spree, come up for air again, and say, I cannot believe I did this shit again?
Yeah.
Look, how many of y'all, the obsession has got you, and it's not letting go? Now, what's your favorite? Huh? How many times have you said, thought, felt, this isn't going to end well? Now, how many times have you tried to put it down and not pick it up? How many? Now, if you went to the track, the horse betting track, and you said, now look, this is my track record. I've said 15,000 times I wasn't going to do that, and I did it every time. But this time I'm going to put all my fucking marbles, my house, everything. I'm going to bet I'm not this time. Do you think the guy behind the window would go, well, wait a minute, dude? Do we need to call a paddy wagon to come get you? Because he would think you are, wouldn't he? How many of y'all have thought at times you are?
Crazy.
You're not. Do you do some crazy shit? Yeah, but you're not.
Crazy.
How many of y'all, this thing, it tells you everything. Look, sitting in here, it'll tell you, I already know all of that. I've been hearing it for a month. The obsession is cunning, baffling, and it's powerful as hell. How many of y'all have had some lengths of sobriety before in recovery? How long? Now, did you ever think you would do this again? Huh? Now, this thing right here, did it creep up on you? After going into the 4th, 5th year, did it start creeping up on you? Was it cunning? Because you're a con artist, you are, and it cons you. Is it cunning? Is it baffling? And did it overrule everything you hold near and dear to you? So it's powerful as hell. Now, if you have an obsession of the mind and you couple it with an allergy of the body, you have been rendered. Now, would you say you have the obsession? How do you know? Besides, as Madison said, you in here.
Because I can't control it.
No, that wouldn't be because of this. The way you know you have this is you keep doing that. Now, once you start, can you control it? That's because of, look, how many of y'all get these two things very confused? You've got to put them together. You gotta be able to know them like the back of your hand. Gotta know the difference between an obsession and a craving. Now, would you say cravings are mental or physical? What would you say? Would you bet your life on it? Huh? Would you bet your life on it? What about your mama's life? So you're not? Look, you got to lay this shit down and you got to be 100% without a doubt in your mind what the hell we talking about. I mean, what did you come here for? Did you come here to rest? Huh? Did you come for the horseback ride? Did you come to keep your kids? Did you got to get this and you got to get it down now. Now, you got to understand how they work. 50% of it is in the mind and 50% is in. Now, if you had to pick, which one do you think, the obsession or the allergy, is the main problem for you? What would you say?
Said obsession.
Would you be 100% sure?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, you got to be. We're dealing with your life. What would you say? About what? Look, man, look. I'm going to give you a pass today because physically I know you started detoxing, right? After today, better come in here ready to roll. Now, the obsession is the main problem. We cannot do anything about the physical part of this. Now, I have not put the first one in 23 years. I still have the physical allergy. What's been removed is, now, if you didn't have that, let's say you didn't have an obsession to use, right? Would you keep putting one in?
No.
And if you don't put one in, you'll never set that off. I want you to listen to this. This is somebody, you got to listen. I can live with the allergy if I don't have the obsession. But if I have the obsession and
The allergy.
the obsession's going to make sure I keep putting,
First one in.
and the allergy's going to make sure I destroy myself in the process. Now, together, they're not very good compatible. But if I get rid of the obsession, can I live with the allergy?
Yes.
Now, the whole time I've been sober, 23 years, I have not put what in. Now, the allergy, I'll never get rid of it. It says once alcoholic, always alcoholic. Now, 23 years, I have not put one in. The whole time I've been sober, this has been getting worse. Now, if I don't have that, this can get as worse as it wants. Matt, if I left here today and I stopped at Jet down there and I bought a Budweiser and put one in, what would happen? What would happen? I would set off. Now, would I pick up where I left off 23 years ago? Or would I pick up like I've been using the whole time? Matt, are you sure? You'd bet? Now, what he said was, I would not pick up where I left off 23 years ago. The whole time I've been sober, the allergy's been getting worse. if I picked up today, I would pick up like I had been using the whole time. And in a matter of months, I would lose everything. The older you get, the worse the allergy gets. So that means the worse. That means the worse. Now, how many of y'all, when you first started using, this wasn't too awfully bad yet? So the cravings weren't bad yet. So the sprees weren't too awfully bad yet. Now, how many of y'all, over your career of using, has it gotten better, stayed exactly the same, or worse? Do you know why? The older you get, the worse, and the worse. Now, the sprees started to get bad. They've been bad, huh? But I cannot do anything about the physical part of this. I can do something about. Now, what do you think I can do about the obsession? What is it that you think I can do? Because look, I want you to think about this. How many of y'all have said before, I'm done? When you say you're done, what you're trying to do is something humanly impossible. Do you know what that is? Huh? Do you? Well, you'd have to listen. I know you are. How many of y'all in here, when you say, I'm done, you mean it, which is every time. You're trying to do something humanly impossible. Do you know what that is? No. Do you know? You're trying to remove on your own. That's why you fail every single time. Now, I can't remove this. It's going to take a power greater than me. Now, I want you to listen to this. This is the key to this whole thing. You got to see it. I can't tell you about it. I can't make you read about it. You got to see it. And this is what you got to see. You don't have the power to remove. If you did, the very first time you ever said, I'm done, your ass would have been done. And this is what most of y'all, it goes right over your damn head. You think you come in here, we give you a good education, and you say, now I know. Just don't. And you do nothing else while you're here. You leave here with the same thing you came in with, and it's just sitting back here, cunning, baffling, and powerful. And at the most inopportune time, that obsession's going to go. That's you again, boy. That's what it's going to do to you. Oh, Matt. How many of y'all, the obsession keeps getting you every time? Now, if you want to do something about the obsession, you have come to the right place. When somebody sees it, this is what they got to see. It's going to take a power greater than me to remove that. That's when they start to become interested in, because the steps tap me into. The steps don't remove that. The steps tap me into that, which removes that. Now, most of y'all come in here thinking you already got the power. So when we start talking to you about a power, you say, "Steph, I already got the damn power." How many times you been to treatment? Were you ever interested in that as a result of doing that? Or did you just want to be sober? It won't, you can be sober, just not for long. Like I tell y'all, any jackass can get sober. I proved that to you yesterday with her. Look, if all you want to do is be sober, I'm going to give you a 100% success rate. It lasts between 18 and 36 months. Go punch a police officer right here. Get the best shot you can get on. And for 18 to 36 months, your ass is going to stay sober. They're going to make sure of it. But the second you walk out, you're walking out with what you walked in with. Now, what you got to figure out, and I can't do it for you, is do you want the obsession removed? Look, I wouldn't believe none of y'all if you said yes or no. What you got to start thinking about, what are you here for? What are you here for? Now, I want you to think of one person who cares about you the most. Who is it? Now, if your wife had followed you around every second you've been here, would she say, "I am so proud of you for the effort you put in"? Or would she say, "What the hell are you doing"? Okay, so look, you're the only one that knows that. And I'm the only one here that probably wouldn't believe you. Look, what you got to ask yourself is, am I giving this everything I have? When it came to meth, did you give it everything you got? Yeah. And more. How many of y'all? Well, I'm going to work out. I'm going to get my physical body right. Like, we got to do that shit before you leave. Every waking moment, you ought to be focusing on this and that. And if you're not, this will not. I'm telling you it won't. Who loves you the most? If he knew everything, what kind of effort you've been putting in, what would he say? You're the only one that knows. Now, how long have y'all been fooling yourself about the truth? So I don't want to be sure. I want to be no doubts. What about you? What would he say? He would go, come on, dude. What are you doing? What would they say? What would those kids say? Yeah. Oh, what? Okay, then what are you doing? Look, I don't know what y'all think y'all doing here. This is not summer camp. Look, the lakes look great. The geese and all that shit. It's a nice setting. And you come here going, this is such shameful. I don't know what you think you're doing here. If you didn't come here to do this, to tap into this, you're leaving with, and you will use again. Now, we're going to sum up the first part of the first step. If you can't stay stopped because of the obsession, and you couple it with an allergy of the body, once you start, you have no control over how much you're gonna use, you are one powerless ass person. Have you ever heard of Stevie Wonder?
Yeah.
Huh? You know who he is? Who is?
Fine, by God.
He's a blind musician. Stevie Wonder can see. That's the main problem. But some of y'all walk around here with both eyes and both ears and still can't see it. Because you think you know. And I'm special. I'm not like those crackheads. I drink Jim Beam. Look, how many of y'all in here? Y'all look at some people who've lost everything in here. You look at some people who still have something left, and you try to judge. Well, I don't have that. Look, what you got to ask yourself is this, Justin: do you have the allergy? Do you have? And if you do, the only thing you need to be worried about is doing those so you can get some of that before you head out that gate. Now, the obsession. Madison, is yes or no? Do you know what an obsession is? What? You're not that far off. He says it's something you cannot get out of your mind. Now, an obsession is a thought or an idea that overrules everything. Now, what's the one thing that you love, care about the most on the face of the earth? And don't say liquor. What? Your son. Now, when the obsession starts working on you, is it a thought or an idea that overrules your son? That's got to be powerful to do that to you, huh? It's so powerful that only is going to remove it. Look, how many of y'all would die for that son, wouldn't you? But you won't do this for him. Fucking crazy. Do y'all realize that if you keep going like you going, it's going to be slow, miserable, and your family is going to have to watch each miserable step. How many of y'all got kids? What would you do? You got kids? How many you got? Just sit in the back for today. Two kids. If one of them was running in front of a car, right? What would you do?
Tackle them and sacrifice myself.
Anything. You would jump in front of them and, wouldn't you? But you won't. Because look, do you have that? Then you're an alcoholic like me. And that's the program for people like me. You may not be like me, I don't know. Obsession coupled with renders me. Now, Matt, if you had to pick the obsession or the allergy, if somebody told you you get one pick, you're going to get rid of one. Are you sure? He says the allergy. Huh?
Obsession.
Okay, I want you to listen to this. Look, I'm trying to make a point here, Justin. What are you doing that's so important down there? You tying your shoes?
No, sir.
I know. Listen, if we ask you to pick one, what would you say? Would you want to get rid of this or this?
The obsession.
Okay. Now, knowing what I know today, if they ask me, what do you want to be rid of? I would say being, because this not only removes that, it makes me a father, a son, a brother, an uncle. See, most people come in here. If you would have asked me when I first sat down in here, which one I wanted gone, fuck 50-50, either one you're good. But you gonna let's just say you got rid of that and couldn't put nothing in you. You would be one miserable bitch. Or let me rephrase that, one miserable. That was a mouthful. Now, how many of y'all have no idea what you're gonna get when you tap into that? That is the tip of the iceberg. And you're gonna strike something better than gold.
You said that if you get rid of the allergy, which is,
Are you and Madison fucking related? Smile, Madison. Look, I was making comparison. You can't get rid of the allergy. I said, if you could. See, you heard everything but if. Now, can I do anything about the allergy?
No.
I can't. Can we do something about the obsession?
Yeah.
What? Tap into as a result of. Say that again.
It's simple.
It is simple. It's just not easy.
Do it.
Because most of y'all in here think you know everything about,
Everything.
and nobody can tell you ass nothing. So brilliant. Where are you from?
originally Amy,
Where? How many times you been to treatment? Where?
South Haven, Mississippi.
Okay. Y'all open y'all's big books to page 52. Now, we're going to branch out a little bit. I know we're going to put this thing into overload, Justin. Look, we're going to put this into overload. Now, how many of y'all think the reason your life has become unmanageable is because of this? Telling you, it ain't. Now, you got to listen. Before I ever knew what drugs and alcohol were, my life had already started to get unmanageable. Now, I can remember about 6, 7, 8 years old. I go with my older brother to his friend's house. And up on his friend's dresser, they got about $20 worth of quarter. Now, you have to remember now, this was in about 1967. There was a lot of money back then. So I take them and I put them in my pocket. I get home. As soon as I get home, I go at them. I'm 7. My mama comes in the room, says, hey, your brother's friend's mama just called me wanting to know if you stole the money. And I went, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never saw him. I never put my hands on him. And I got away with it. So what do you think I started to form in my personality? Dishonesty, selfishness, inconsideration. Drugs ain't even in the picture. Now, I start using that. Guess what happens with my life? Starts to get unmanageable. About 12, somebody comes up to me and says, hey, if you put this in you, it'll change the way you feel. And I said, you got to. I put that shit in my body and it was like taking a cup of gas and throwing it on a fire. Shit really exploded in. But my life was already before I put. Now, did drugs and alcohol accelerate it by leaps and bounds?
Yes.
So if we just take the accelerant off, the drugs and alcohol, guess what we still got burning? Little unmanageable fire, dishonest and self-centered to the core. Now, we're going to read some stuff out the big book, okay? Start reading. Page 52, in the middle. Read it loud and read it clear. Go.
We had to ask ourselves why we shouldn't apply to our human problem the same readiness to change our point.
Now, look up here. How many of y'all, when it comes to this, you want God's help? You better want it. But how many of y'all, when it comes to the day-to-day managing of your life, how many of y'all go, I'm good there. I got that. I don't need no fucking help. See, look, you're either all in or all out. There ain't no peace making. I can't have this without. It's either all or nothing. That's what she just read. You got to ask yourself why you shouldn't apply to your human problem the same readiness to change your point of view. Look, how many of y'all, when it comes to this, you ready to change your point of view like fucking now? But the human side of it, you go, fuck, I'm good. I got that. See, you got it so good, you have run it in the ground. Okay, go.
Having trouble with personal relationships.
Look, is anybody in here today sober having trouble with personal relationships?
Yes.
So it can't be. You having trouble with personal relationships? Like at home. Dude? Keep reading.
Couldn't control our emotional nature.
Look, how many of y'all in here are like this? Look. Woo, woo. Woo, woo. You came in my office the other day, you couldn't even catch your damn breath. Could you? Look, how many of y'all, the least little thing that happens that's good, you go, whoop. And the least little thing that doesn't go your way, whoop. Woo. Without drugs. Go.
Prey to misery and depression.
Anybody? Anybody a prey to misery and depression? Go.
Couldn't make a living.
How many of y'all this is affecting you making a living? Not somebody doing it for you out there, but you doing it. Is it affecting you? You? You. Go.
You had a feeling of uselessness.
Anybody? Go.
Were full of fear.
Anybody?
Everybody.
You? Go.
We were unhappy.
Anybody? Now, let's say sober. You stay like that, what she just read. You will have no choice but to use. See, that's what most of y'all, it goes. See, this taps me into this. This takes care of that and everything she just fucking read. And that's where most of y'all, you can't even comprehend it. See, the ones of us who go, okay, look, I'm all in, fucking all in. Whatever they tell me to do, I'm gonna say, okay. See, that means when you come in here, I don't have to tell you, hey, open your book. Where's your book? I'm up here. See, you would be hanging on every word every day you come in here if you're all in. Close your books. Now, if somebody asked you, Jeff, you know, you guys and girls that's sitting in the back, y'all fixing to start getting some hard questions. And we're going to see how much you've been paying attention. Yeah. If you wanted to solve a problem, any problem, yes or no, do you know the 3 pieces to the puzzle to solve a problem? Yes or no? Okay. He says no. Do you? Do you? Gary? Do you? What? Okay, you got to know the problem. Then you got to know the solution. Then you got to have a plan of. Now, if you think about this, basic problem solving. Problem, solution, plan of action. Wake up. What they give you for lunch? Quaaludes? Wake up. Now, how many of y'all come in here? And when it comes to this, you're using problem, you have no clue what it is. So therefore, you have come up with solution after solution after solution that hadn't worked yet. If you show me an alcoholic, untreated, I'll show you someone who has come up with buku solutions to a problem they do not understand. Now, step 1, they lay out. Step 2, they lay out. And in step 3, they tell you, decide which one that you want more. Do you want to stay stuck here or do you want to come here? Now, in order for you to decide that, you've got to know what the problem is. And then you have to know what the solution is. And then you can decide. Now, the steps are laid out very, very simple. And the steps are simple. They have to be. Because they deal with a bunch of mixed up, screwed up ass people. So they have to be simple. Now, this is how the steps are laid out. Step 1 tells you. Step 2 gives you. And in step 3, they say decide which one you want more. Now, the problem. Twofold. Physically and mentally. Physically, we told you that it is the allergy, and mentally, the obsession. Now, this is how you know if you have the allergy. Every time you dump one in, you set it off, it produces a craving, you off to the races again, you come up for air and swear you are done. You live in your own skin sober. This starts to work on you, and this tells you, hey, you need some relief. You put one back in, off to the races again. Bam, 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 bam. How many of y'all keep repeating this over and over and over and over? Now, can you quit? Huh?
Yeah.
Well, when your ass comes up off a spree from Jim Beam, you quit. You build up. This tells you to start. You go through all of this, you quit. You build up, you start. You go through all this, quit. Build up, start, quit, blah, 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 blah. How many of y'all, that's your MO? Now, sometimes you don't do this for a couple of months, year, two, but just about every time in your little short life, you have started. Starting and quitting. Now, can you quit?
I'm able to
No. If you're able to come up off a spree, you can.
quit.
Now, can you quit?
Yes.
So you don't need help quitting. You need help not. And this is the reason you keep. Now, we give you what? Step one. Now, if you understand the problem, a herd of horses can't keep you from.
The solution.
Now, the solution is only as good as your understanding of.
The problem.
Now, the solution, twofold. Part of it is going to the meetings in the fellowship. And the other part is actually doing the steps. And the steps are in the first 103 pages of the big book. Now, the fellowship, going to the meeting. This is what it does. It supports me. What the steps do is change me. And if I put them together, I tap into. Now, problem, solution. You have to make which one you want more. Now, up to this point in your life, which one have you wanted more? This or this? Huh? Okay. How well is that working for you? Then it really doesn't leave you but one choice. Now, let's say she wanted to carry out step 3 and go from here to here. Don't anybody blurt this out. Do you know how to carry out step 3 and go from here to here? Do you know how to do that? That's how. And we call these action steps. Now, if she would do these steps right here, like the book says, she would be out of the problem into
The solution.
Now, once she's in the solution, the way she's going to stay there is by doing 10, 11, and 12 daily. Now, 23 years later, I'm still doing.
10, 11, and 12.
Now, the steps are quite simple. Steps 1, 2, and 3 have put you in a position to do 4 through, which is put you in a position to start living again. And anybody who's living would never dream of putting something in them to change the way they feel. But are you living? Or are you living? Are you existing? And by those questions she asked a minute ago. And existence sucks. It sucks so bad. The only thing you can look forward to, and I don't care if they're going to take your kids, your cat, your puppy dog, your job, your car, your house. Nothing's going to stop you from this if you still got. Look, I've had them come in here signed paper saying, if I use again, I'm going to 10 flat. 10 years flat. And you try to tell them the whole time they're in here, they're going to go do the 10 years if something don't give here. No, I'm not. I go, yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Many of y'all in this room knew. Used again, the consequences were going to be swift and severe. You knew it. And you could not put, could you? Could you? Look, how many of y'all's little young lives are just starting and the consequences are already severe. And they're going to keep getting
Worse.
and
Worse.
come in here and it can all, but you say, I don't like him. I don't really care for him too much. Now, does anything happen in step one? Nothing. We give you a set of facts. Does anything happen in two? No. We give you another set of facts. And even though a lot of y'all expect a lot here, nothing happens here. Steps 1, 2, and 3 are like this. Get ready, get set, go. Nothing happens until your ass takes action steps. And this is where most of y'all balk. Especially, right? Because every one of y'all have 1 or 2, 3 things you don't want nobody to know. Your ass did, or it happened to you. And a lot of y'all try to bypass the 4th step, so that means you really never do. Your decision remains a decision. You really never get here. You just go to some and you actually stay stuck in. And when that shit hits, you come up for air and say, that AA shit don't work. Now you keep hollering relapse, right? Do you know what that even means? Right? Look, you the one said it. I didn't make it up. Sit up. Girl, you're going to hurt your posture. Do you know what that means? No. It means, yes, I do know what it means, or no, I don't. Okay. Now, how many of y'all have went to treatment and you say, I relapsed? Come on. Not we all, unless you have a rat in your pocket and it's only you in the hit. Look, that word relapse. If you look at that word, relapse, you got to make a lap. To relapse. You got to do something, make a lap to y'all don't relapse. You just pick back up because the obsession still got you. Comments? Questions? We ain't finished. I want you to turn your big book to page 45. Let me see you. Look up here. How many of y'all give you this book? You know, the one we got to make you bring? If somebody asked you, what do you think this book is about? What would you say? Would you say alcoholic? Huh? Addiction? Okay. What would you say it's about?
Yeah, addiction.
Look, when you get this book, it says Alcoholics Anonymous. Most people, including me, when I first came in here, I thought this book was about alcoholism, especially when they started talking about this. Now, the book really has not a lot to do with alcoholism. The only reason they talk about this in the beginning is to get you to see just how powerless your ass really is. Because if you ever see it, then you're going to be interested in what the book's really about. Look, most people, including me when I came in here, I wasn't interested in no power. I thought I already had it. And then they started explaining this, and I went, hold on a minute. Let me rethink some shit. It wasn't until I understood this that I became interested in this. Because this is how I'm going to get, because the instructions for those are in. Now, don't blurt this out like you already knew it. Do you know what the best-selling book that's ever been put on paper is? Called the Bigger Book, the Bible. Do you know why? It's the most spiritual book that's ever been put on paper. Do you know the second best-selling book, and it's not fucking Harry Potter? This one. Do you know why? It's the second best-selling book that's ever been put on paper because it's the second most spiritual book. This is the dumbass's version of the Bigger Book. So here you go. Look, how many of y'all have no clue what that book's about? Every second you have. If you're not in group, you're not eating, you're not sleeping, you're not on the phone talking to your family, your nose needs to be in the first 103 pages of that book. Not meth. Your nose has been in meth long enough. We need it in the book. You know, you do lines of meth, do some fucking lines out that book. Now, page 45. Do you read okay? Huh? Is that why you do horse tranquilizers? You got a horse and human mixed up. Start reading. First paragraph down. Read it loud. Go. Lack of power.
Lack of power, that was our dilemma.
Now, Jeff, do you know what a dilemma is? Madison, do you know what a dilemma is? What? They're both what? Look, if you listen to Madison, which I don't suggest you do, but this time, a dilemma means you have two choices and you don't like either one. Now, Madison, this right here, that's pretty much put your life in a tailspin, right? Do you really want to go get some more of that action and everything that comes with it? Right? But when you first came in here, you really didn't want. Be honest. I didn't say do, I said did. Okay. But how many of y'all come in here and you're facing a dilemma? You're going to stay here or you're going to come here. Now, how many of y'all sitting in here think you got a bunch of choices and decisions to make coming up? You don't. You actually have stay here or come here. See, I know you think you got a lot of decisions to make about the kids in OCS, right? But you really don't. Because if you stay here, OCS gonna take care of it. If you come over here, OCS is gonna hand them back to you with a bow on. Y'all think y'all got a bunch of decisions and choices to make. And you really don't. You've lost them. When I got in here, I'm going, you know what? I may get my kids back. I may get a job. I may get a car again. I may get all of that, but I'm not going to keep it. If I don't get over here, I've proven it to myself over and over and over and over. How many of y'all go? Got to get a job. You're a fucking old man. Got to get a phone. You come up with all kinds of shit. You may get those things, but I promise you, if you stay here, you ain't keeping them. So it boils down, you got two choices. Now, if somebody told you there's a way you could deal with this without doing this, you'd be all fucking in. See, look, y'all have tried everything to work on your little problem except which fucking actually works. It's crazy to watch one of us. This shit's been around since 1920s. 3 million fuckers have recovered. And most of y'all go, I'm not going to do that. Well, if you're not, you're gonna do that. Sooner or, not a now and fucking later, sooner or. Now, start reading again.
We had to find a power by which we could live.
Now, how many of y'all have not lived in a long time? You've been existing. Every day is a disaster and miserable. Now, it says you had to find a power by which you could live. Anybody who's living would not dream of putting something in them to change the way they feel. If you got to put something in you to change the way you feel, you must not feel too good to begin with. Now, you go to any length to get meth to change the way, but you won't do this to change the way you feel. Go.
Be a power greater than ourselves.
Now, newsflash, Einstein, it's got to be a power greater, not equal to or less than. Now, I want you to look to the left and the right. I'm giving you permission now. Go ahead. That's where you want to look anyway most of the time. Look, how many of y'all see any powers greater than you in this room? Do you? Please tell me no. Do you? Do you see any powers less than you in here? I don't see any powers greater than me in here, and I don't see any powers less than me in here. I see a lot of powers equal to me in here. And it's telling me it's going to take a power greater than. So that means it's got to come from something other than a human. You can't do it. If you could, you would have already did it. The reason you can't do it is because you are human. A power equal to me. Keep reading.
Obviously. But where and how were we like to find
Exactly like it said.
But where and how were we to find this power?
Question mark. So guess what they fixing to tell you? Where and how. If you didn't come to Woodlake for that, you're in the wrong institution again. Now, I want you to listen to what she's gonna tell you. She's gonna tell you where and how. Go,
Well, that's exactly what this book is about.
son of a bitch.
Its main object is to enable you to find a power within yourself, which will solve your problem.
Now, did it say what problem? It could be this one. It could be your problem with personal relationships, your problem with making a living, your problem of being emotionally up and down all the time. Didn't say what problem did it. Close your book. Most of y'all in here, you can't see this far in front of your face.